you, John. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to meet all of you today. Okay, to introduce, as John said, I'm an aviation journalist and also an air traffic controller. I'm the founder and the CEO of Newsaero Info. Newsaero Info is a media platform which has been launched in about 5 years back. We over the time since then, the website has emerged as today to be the first francophone media offering a reliable and irreproachable sources of data on civil aviation market in Africa. We do cover airports, airlines, legislation, national civil aviation, and thanks to our next network of correspondents, and we do cover the 54 African countries. So for these today's sessions, we are talking about the digitalization in aviation. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic has massively affected the global air industry. In Africa, up to today, the number of flights is still around 95% lower than at the start of the year. And industry, for sure, will undoubtedly to be changed as a consequence of this pandemic in terms of operation and in terms of processes. For sure, perhaps in terms of consumer behavior. This is why today we think, and we have seen it essential to talk about the digitalization. Will the pandemic speed up digitalization in aviation in Africa, and to what type of solution should be considered as a priority? Those are the questions we'll go through this 40-minute session. Okay, to commence, I would like to introduce my first panelist. My first panelist is Miretab Teklaye, is the Director Integrating Marketing Communication at Ethiopian Airlines. Is responsible for the definition and strategy innovation and implementation of the e-commerce at Ethiopian Airlines. Miretab has successfully executed the first mobile apps, cloud app strategy, and the result in more than 10% mobile app contribution to the total sale of the airline. And Miretab has worked on digital transformation of the airline from operations, services, and sale and back businesses. So my first question to Miretab, coming from Ethiopia. First question, how do Ethiopian Airlines prepare to move into this full digitalization?
Thanks, Romuald. Great to be here. In Ethiopian Airlines, we always find out new ways of doing business, especially opportunities to leverage the rapid development of technology to improve our operational excellence and customer experiences. But we had roadblocks. The first thing is we were positioning our IT department as an operational support division. And second is we have legacy, silo, complex monolithic systems, and we depend our agility on vendors. We did have intensive negotiation with vendors. So the agility depends on vendors. It takes, for example, a couple of years or a couple of months to embrace technology to our system. So we couldn't able to talk about digital transformation. But back in 2018, we launched a digital innovation program. The first thing that we did is transforming the position of technology from support role to core competency. And the second is preparing the enabling ecosystem for transformation. The cloud, investing on cloud, mobility, DevOps, microservices, APIs, and real-time data interfaces. And the third is embracing culture. Agile culture, design thinking, creating lean product-based structures. And the fourth is preparing digital capabilities. We have hired over 100 digital graduates to improve and adopt technology. So we have gained tremendous results in the past 2 years. For example, introducing payment was taking 6 months or a year, but now we are adopting payment monthly. We have in China, Alipay and WeChat, in Brazil, installment payments, mobile money, banks in Africa. So we have seen 15% of our sales now from mobile. And we are providing experience. But
that is, yes, go.
But I mean, digitization is journey. And now in 2020, we have started an acceleration program. This time, we are taking the digitization to the next level, leveraging artificial intelligence, IoT, blockchain to upgrade the customer experience to the next level. So still we are in the process, but we have organizational readiness to embrace digitization.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, the second question goes to my second panelist. His name is George Fenergi. He's the Vice President Business Transformation at SITA, in charge of Middle East, India, and Africa. Okay, to introduce my panelist, George has more than 20 years experience in information and communication technologies with a specific focus on the air traffic industry. He has been working with SITA in various roles since 2006 in helping the airport and airlines to use technology to simplify the passenger process and optimize airport operation. Mr. George, my question, do you believe the COVID-19 has led to a quicker and smoother transformation, digital transformation adoptions in Africa?
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So, this question made me think about, the early days of COVID-19. We started seeing this joke on social media. It was mentioning who was the catalyst of digital transformation. Was it the CEO, the CIO, the transformation manager, the CDO? And then the answer was none of the above. It was the COVID-19. So, no doubt COVID-19 have pushed the people to their limits to go into digital transformation faster. If I want to give a simple example that relates to all of us, we are all working from home now seamlessly. We are now doing not only a webinar, but an entire event, digitally. So obviously, we were pushed to go that way. And not only us, normal employees, maybe it's easy to work from home, but think about call center people. Think about an airline a call center agent. He has to take a call now from home, and then to be able to access the IT systems of the airline from home. Take an engineer, a data center engineer. He used to take a call and go and fix, whatever server, whatever patches, whatever software. Now he needs to take an incident from home, and he needs to access the data center from home and have all the tools to be able to do that. So from an airline, from an airport industry, the industry was pushed that way. Some of them were ready from one day to another. They were able to work from home. Some of them, it took gradually, but no doubt by the end of COVID and even, coming to the next quarters, we really see more and more airports and airlines capable now to be able to accommodate better, unfortunately, if it happens another pandemic. So eventually COVID-19 has accelerated digital transformation, no doubt. And I understand that in the few minutes in this session, we'll talk more about digital transformation and the passenger experience also.
Okay, perfect. The third, I want to introduce the third and the last of this session is Ciaran Wilson from Cellpoint Digital. He is the head of sales in charge of Middle East and Africa. With the background in technology sales, Ciaran has gained an extensive experience in Africa region, servicing many carriers such as Ethiopian Airlines by helping them in driving additional revenue through their digital channel. Ciaran, I have a question for you. According to you today, let me say, according to you, what is the which tech or innovation, which tech of innovation solution can be integrated within the channel chain today? But before we move on that question, I would like to ask you, as a technology partner, how can Africa aviation industry adapt to this post-COVID world to assure a seamless customer experience?
Yeah, thanks, Romuald, for the introduction, and great to be part of the panel. One sort of key theme that I've noticed throughout the sessions today I've been on since the beginning is the real focus on mobility and contactless, and sort of really where is a key tool there would be the mobile app. We obviously produce mobile apps for a number of airlines, and we see that as a pretty critical tool for African carriers. There is a lot of carriers with mobile apps at the minute, especially the larger ones, some good, some not so good. But it's really utilizing that tool to really make the customer experience a lot more seamless. So although we're not in post-COVID now, we still are in COVID, it's really utilizing that as a way to communicate to customers. Now, what I mean by that is borders are opening and closing daily. Airlines or countries have restrictions on documentation, etc., that's required. So really having that mobile app as a communication tool whereby customers can find out what they need to fly and also get updates on actually what if there's any disruption to their flights that they may be experiencing. Now that can be used as a tool through the app itself, or you can also use the utility of a push notification. Now the interesting thing is airlines we've been working with are still remaining quite active even during this downtime now to enhance their mobile app to make sure that that is a tool that they can utilize to communicate with customers and make sure they're aware of any disruptions or anything changing within their flight plans. We've seen an increase in requirements for online check-in. Obviously, contactless is the way forward now. No one wants to be handling a boarding pass. They want to keep the restrictions between other passengers as much as possible. So having that, using your boarding pass digitally through the wallet, going through immigration and straight on the flight as well. So it's really using that tool, the high penetration of mobile apps within Africa and high penetration of smartphones is there. It's enhancing the app to take advantage of the facilities that are there. And we are seeing those changes shifting that way. So that would be the sort of key area I would view as in terms of increasing the customer experience.
Okay, let me go back to Miretab. Miretab, when we just listened to what Ciaran said, it means that digitalization includes interaction between many stakeholders. According to you, what is the role of stakeholders in this process of digitalization in between the customer journey?
Thanks, Romuald. I think the customer experience is all about the journey and the touch points. So in every touch point, starting from booking all the way to baggage collection at the destination, we have different stakeholders. So we need intense collaboration to provide maximum experience for the customer. Let's start from booking. For example, if you want to book from Cameroon, if you don't have cards, you need local payment options like MTA and banks. So it needs collaboration between these entities, like with card acquirers, local payment options, banks, so that you can own the experience within your app to book. Let's say we are successfully managing the booking, you can do the checking, pre-travel, and then you're having the mobile boarding pass. So in the airport, we have different touch points, border control, lounge, boarding. Can you access all the touch points only using your app, using the boarding pass? It needs integration and collaboration between border control, airport, lounge, and boarding. And let's go to the arrival. If the governments have provided e-visa, for example, you can have at the departure your e-visa on your mobile app. So it needs collaboration between payment providers at the airport society and also government border controls. We can, as an airline, aggressively go digital, but the change is very incremental to provide a very holistic transformation and upgrade the customer experience. It needs collaboration between these stakeholders, which based on technology.
Let me go to George. George, Miretab has just mentioned some technologies like the mobile apps and the e-visa. For you, what kind of digital technology will enable a safer and a smoother passenger journey?
Yeah, thank you, Romuald. So basically, exactly what my colleagues were saying. You know, COVID-19 has changed a little bit the priorities and has put some more pressure on few things like social distancing. It has put a little bit more pressure on hygiene and sanitization, on the passenger communication, passenger health checks. So airlines and airports are doing lots of things to be able to meet those new demands. But technology is a big pillar, and it can complement what they are doing. So firstly, to complement what Ciaran and Miretab was saying, you know, the future is mobile. No doubt, the future is mobile. Even before COVID-19, part of passenger facilitation, future is mobile. But then taking the COVID-19 now example and putting it into perspective, what is safer to touch than your mobile? I don't want to touch the kiosk. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to touch the gate. I can only touch my mobile. It's safe. It belongs to me. So this has increased the mobility. So now I check in from my mobile. I can print my mobile boarding pass. I can pay overweight with my mobile. Even we went to another extent. You arrive to an airport, you have a kiosk. We have now, from your mobile, you can control the kiosk. You don't need to touch the screen of the kiosk. From your mobile, you can control the kiosk. From your mobile, you can control the self-bag drop. So no doubt mobility is a big angle. Adding another technological big also element, biometrics. We have been talking about biometrics since long time. Single ID, one ID, your face is your boarding pass. So obviously during COVID, this has very much accelerated now. Because if your face is your boarding pass, then really you don't have to touch anything. You can look at the counter and then you are checked in. You can look at the counter and drop your bag. You can look at the at the camera and then pass security. You can look at the camera and board. So your face is your boarding pass. So biometrics is really big in facilitation and security, but also biometrics has increased in the COVID-19. So these are a couple of technologies. To complement what Miretab was saying about visas, e-visa, yes. So or electronic health authorization. So now before I go to a country, even it's ideally to apply for electronic visa or an electronic travel authorization. This has been complemented recently with health data. So now we have recently introduced health ETA. So now before I travel to Ethiopia from Dubai, I can apply to health ETA, and then Ethiopia government can deny me to even take the plane while I'm still in Dubai. So this is again how technology can help in this journey. So mobility, biometrics, electronic travel authorization. We can talk about automated border control. So now it's getting more and more. So if I want to say very simply, these are not new. These are not new. People were going into this digital journey. COVID-19 really accelerated that. Instead of people having it in their plan in 2026, now it should be in their plan in 2020, 2021, because this is, it increased security, it enhances the passenger facilitation, and also it's safer to fly. So this COVID-19 really has accelerated these technologies, which are not new. They were on the table, but now we are finding more and more industry players going into these technologies because it's safer to travel in the pandemic era. So this is a little bit a snapshot of some technologies for the passenger, from a passenger perspective.
Great. Shara, Josh has just mentioned those technology, and we see how digitalization can ease the travel and passenger journey. According to you, here in Africa, specifically in Africa, which tech or innovation solution can be integrated within the travel chain to restore this passenger confidence?
Yeah, one key area that's been noticed now is the disruption management of passengers. Obviously, flights are being delayed or being cancelled, and the whole voucher issuing and the voucher experience for the customers it's been pretty woeful at the minute. Customers don't really get that proper experience. They receive a notification that their flight's been cancelled. They may receive an e-voucher of some sort that has a reference number or a code. They have no real visibility on the value of that voucher, what restrictions are there, what route they can fly, etc. So the whole customer view on what they have in front of them has disappeared. Now, to innovate this, it's really getting some process in place where this is digitalized, making it part of the mobile app, making it into a wallet of some sort where a customer can view their ticket and they can see the value of it and they can actually redeem it as well. The challenges that the airline is facing now is that there is a big influx of call center calls for checking on flights, etc. And the way the e-vouchers are being redeemed now is the customer experience is completely disconnected. Customers, they call the call center, give the reference number, then they get details of the e-voucher, etc. Then they book their flight. If this was digitalized, this was part of the app, this is within a wallet somehow, they could use that seamlessly as a part payment. They could maybe add a sum on top of that if they want to go to a different destination, etc. But there's a lot of negative publicity from the media at the moment on how vouchers are being managed, especially for customers who might be high up in a loyalty within an airline, etc., quite high up in the tiers. They're not getting that experience. So it's really putting that into some sort of digital format whereby it's easy to redeem, the customer can see it, and also it'll maintain the cash flow for the airlines. Obviously, refunds is something that the airline doesn't want to proceed with. If they can make that experience with the voucher as seamless as possible for the customer, it'll increase the cash flow and it'll maintain that loyalty to the airline as well from the customer. So it's a pretty key area for now, but also for the future as well.
Great. Those are the good. Those are interesting advantages which can that we can gain from digitalization. Miretab, at the level of Ethiopian, can you give us some lively example where you have demonstrated the output of this digitalization you are differently today?
Thank you, Romuald. We have done actually full-scale automation. We are now trying to adapt the emerging technologies. But as I mentioned, well, we have launched back in 2018 a mobile app. Africa is a mobile market, mobile commerce, mobile money, mobile device, mobile internet. So in Africa, we have over 1 million users on mobile app. And for example, if you take East Africa, 30% of our transaction is on mobile, with mobile money.
Great.
So we have leveraged all this, but a very good example of collaboration in digitization can be the layover experience of Ethiopian Airlines. Ethiopian Airlines provides a layover package like hotel, visa, and transfers to passengers who are staying between 8 and 24 hours in Addis. So previously, the experience was at the departure point, passenger had to collect the hotel voucher, and in Addis at the arrival point, you have to collect visa cards, and you pass through immigration and grab your shuttle. So we have gathered with external stakeholders like immigration, airports, and our internal technology product teams. We did a design thinking session. How we can upgrade the experience of the customer by putting the customer at the center. So in 5 weeks, we came up with a product called Philadis. The product is embedded within Ethiopian Airlines mobile app. So at the departure point, right after the check-in, the Philadis feature generates a pass which contains visa and hotel. So we have avoided 2 contact points. First, at the departure, if you do mobile check-in, you don't have to line up to collect hotel voucher. And at the arrival, you don't have to visit our transit office. So these 2 touch points are avoided using integration between stakeholders and collaboration activities that we have made with all stakeholders. So we'll keep on adapting all these technologies to the next level, biometrics, AI, IoT in the airport. We have created these collaboration schemes using different methodologies to further upgrade the customer experience.
Okay, thank you, Miretab. Let me go back to George. George, you have just mentioned so far technology like mobile, e-visa, biometry. Is Africa aviation ready or can adapt such technology today?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, let me think about it. Let's assume I'm an airport. I invested lots of money in certain platform which is not mobile ready. So I would really think 100 times before I make it. I scrap it and go into a mobile ready platform. Or let's assume I went into a self-service investment which is not biometric ready, and then I will think 100 times before I really have to let this investment depreciate. But if I'm an airport, I didn't invest yet in technology. Yeah, I can. Africa really, in certain, of course, some countries have invested already. But if mostly you can leapfrog the competition, we say. Yes, now if it's time to invest now, or if it's time to go into some advanced technology now, you can immediately go into a mobile-enabled platform. You can immediately go into a electronic visa investment. You can immediately go into a biometric-ready platform, and you can leapfrog. You can find yourself leapfrogging the competition, and no doubt, you can just go into these technologies, and then you don't look back. You didn't invest lots of money in existing legacy technology. You can directly go to the latest next-gen technologies, and no doubt Africa has, like Ciaran mentioned, has the highest mobile penetration from its population. So the people are ready to use such platforms. The people are ready to really start, and they are travelers. They have been exposed to such technologies in other countries. So I really find that it's not difficult, and there are lots of business models now that can support on a pay as you go matter, which SITA or other vendors can support some countries in Africa where maybe there is lack of investment. Maybe it's a discussion for another day, but there are lots of business models today to support such technology, and technology is getting cheaper, honestly. Maybe it's not the great thing for SITA, but the technology is getting cheaper. It's getting more, people are getting more access to technology, and this is really, so there is nothing that's holding African continent from leapfrogging other travel industries, honestly.
Okay, good point, John. Okay, one of these technologies, mobile digital payment in Africa. Ciara, how popular digital payment in Africa today? And the second question is, how can African carriers adopt their digital payment strategy all across along their operations?
Yeah, thanks, Romuald. So Africa is still predominantly cash payments is king. That's the sort of key method of payment. However, as Miretab mentioned, East Africa, things are expanding with M-Pesa, etc., and that is spreading across the rest of Africa. There's obviously multiple e-wallets and e-money solutions out there. So the shift is going towards digital wallets. But the key thing is that obviously airlines are flying within Africa, making sure that the payment methods that they fly to are relevant for Africa only. But if you look out further, obviously there's international destinations that there's a lot of traffic coming from as well. And just on the example Miretab mentioned with Alipay and WeChat, which we produced for Ethiopian Airlines on their mobile app, due to a significant amount of Chinese passengers coming in to the country and to Addis. So that was a pretty key payment method that's required, because it's back to the customer experience and the customer journey. If you go through the booking process and that payment method that you're used to paying with is not there, the abandonment rate is quite high. And the risk then is that if you don't have that digital wallet or that digital payment method that the customer is expecting, they may go to another website, maybe an online travel agent, which again is some revenue loss for the airline as opposed to them coming and directly booking. So Africa digital wallets is expanding massively, but African carriers should also look at the international destinations they're flying to and making sure that the digital wallets or payment methods or bank-to-bank transfer methods are made available for them, both on the web and the mobile as well. So it's a pretty critical requirement and something that the customers expect.
Great. Okay, so this session is very interesting. We have many people interacting with us through the session. John, can we please pick some 2 or 3 questions from the interaction? And I saw one question regarding George about privacy.
Yeah, well, that's the question that I wanted to pick up, really, because I think it's a really, it's an interesting point. But just in terms of, obviously, as we move to digitization through our whole lives and everything that we do, how do we ensure that there's privacy, or is that something that has to be given away as a result of moving this way? And we all use all of these social media platforms all the time, and do we actually always read right to the end of all the terms and conditions, or do we just say yes, get on with it because we've had it? So let's start with you, George. But do you get this conversation? How do you give the customer the passenger confidence that their privacy is being respected?
Yeah, it's a big question. It's a big discussion. Let me take, for example, the biometrics angle, which is it can relate too much into this question, and then we get this question a lot when we talk about biometrics. Before you use your face as a boarding pass, you have to enroll. You have to enroll from a station, or you can even enroll using your mobile now. You can scan your passport, you can take a selfie, and then you are enrolled. So people ask, what happens to my data? I enrolled, I gave my passport details, I gave my face to the airline or to the airport. So what happens to that? So two things we say. The first thing is you have to accept that no enrollment can be done without passenger giving his consent to give his details. So once you give your consent, this is something, it cannot proceed. The steps cannot proceed. So firstly, you can decide not to give these details, and then you can follow the normal channel, or you can decide, no, I consent, I want to go to the fast lane, I want to use my face as my boarding pass, and then you consent. This is a very important step. The second one is actually after the flight has departed, immediately this record will be deleted. It's part of the product within SITA is called Smart Pass. We will not discuss product today, but automatically your record, because you use it to board the plane, the airport, the airline doesn't keep this record. So this record got deleted. It doesn't need anymore. And then next time you want to travel, you will enroll again using your mobile. And obviously, these kind of solutions are GDPR compliant. They pass all the kind of heavy lifting from a GDPR compliance. So I took the biometrics. My question, in my answer, I took the biometrics angle because this is the most the time we get such questions. But obviously, digitizing, maybe the other panelists will talk about other angles. I took the biometric angle because we get asked a lot about that.
No, and I think you've answered that really well. But yeah, Ciaran, from your side, I mean, the equivalent is, of course, fraud is the big question that people will ask when it comes to payment solutions and developing confidence. As somebody mentioned very rightly on the chat, Africa has been a leapfrogger in terms of mobile money, mobile wallets. So people on the continent are very used to paying for things with their phone. How do we avoid fraud and give people confidence again when they make a payment through an app or whatever in a society that has been driven for so many years by actually physical cash? How do you give them that confidence?
Yeah, so that's one of the actual embedded benefits of using the digital wallets or the e-monies. There's a verification process done with someone's mobile device, and only them have access to it. So if it's biometrics, it's your face scan or your thumb scan to get into the actual wallet itself. So the unlikelihood of someone picking up your device and getting in there to get access to that wallet is quite low. Also, when you're adding a card, if it's a card transaction, there's obviously an OTP, one-time password that's sent to your mobile device to verify you're the person who's setting up the transaction. Could be sent by email, etc. So there is embedded already these various security checks. Whenever the wallet's set up, then that's the most secure transaction you can do. No one can get access to those details. They can't get access to your card details, etc. as well. So it is a pretty key tool. And again, that's what people are saying to reduce the fraud within transactions. And airlines are seeing that as well. They're pushing passengers towards those digital wallets. Obviously, with the fraud transactions and the clawbacks, etc., they have with acquirers, that reduces significantly from these payment methods as well. So it is a key tool and one which the airlines are looking at reducing the frauds.
Oh, great. Okay. And my last question before I allow you to wrap up, Romuald, because we're going to all have a little break before the next session anyway. I just wanted to ask Miretab about how many, are you getting lots, without being specific, are you getting lots of airlines from Africa and beyond who've looked at the success that Ethiopians had and gone, we need to develop this, we want to get this solution in our stable, because it's something that I think is massively lacking, generally across the industry in Africa is that mobile app development. So are you hearing a lot from either partners or potential other airlines? Do they want to engage you guys?
Of course, after having seen the app incredible performance, especially easily adopted by communities, our partners where we have equity like Sky, Air Malawi, and others have requested immediately. So the beauty of now is there is economy of scale. the digital, the payment gateway, everything, it can be provided easily. And then the rollout time is quite shorter than what we used to tech. So we have been receiving different requests from other vendors, and then we are positioning our IT company now to provide and to be on that line of service also.
Great, and they're obviously being the beneficiaries of you already spending the money on the research and development. So they're basically getting an off-the-shelf solution that's doing a job. So that's great from my side. And you know, I'm sorry if we didn't get to all your comments. I know that our panelists have been engaging with you directly on there as well, and you'll find them around the networking too. So I wanted to hand back to you, Romuald, if you're still there. Your camera's gone for me, but hopefully you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Maybe it's lunchtime for Romuald. I don't know.
Hello?
Hello? There you are. Okay, back to you, sir, to wrap up.
Yes, I can get you. Okay, so following all these interventions, we just note that the COVID-19 crisis has brought some immediate new challenges that the travel industry to tackle in order to restore the confidence in travel and to ensure a seamless passenger experience. African industry must respond with effective solutions, and digitalization is one of these solutions. But that one needs a full collaboration for all the different stakeholders. Guys, thank you very much. Ciara, thank you. George, thank you. Miretab, thanks for attending to this great session.